Exclusive contract with Feilu Novel Network novel. Siheyuan. Qiunan will not marry if it's not me. Dingdong, congratulations to the host for obtaining the Check.in exchange system. The host can check in at any location to obtain Check.in points, obtain different items and skills based on the Check.in points, or use Check.in points to enhance and upgrade skills, etc. Dingdong, congratulations to the host for obtaining the beginner's gift pack, Baji Fist, Ming and Qin Royal Chef Craftsmanship, agility of 50, can fly from eaves to walls. Suddenly, Wu Shua felt his body becoming stronger and more relaxed. Wu Shua tentatively punched him, and he was indeed full of strength. Wu's mind is filled with various culinary recipes, ranging from different local dishes to various delicacies, and his cooking skills are all integrated with his body. Wu said that this agility needs to be tested later to know, but it naturally doesn't work in this room right now. Dingdong, may I ask if the host wants to sign in at the Red Star Courtyard in Nanluogu Lane? Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Sign in at the Red Star Courtyard in Nanluogu Lane. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In the summer evening of 52 years, there was a gentle breeze blowing through the 49 cities. In the Red Star Courtyard of Nanluogu Lane in the 49 cities, this is a large courtyard with 3 entrances. There are about 20 households living inside. At this time, the smoke from each household's cooking is also rising, and lanterns are hanging in the courtyard. Old and young men from each household are also coming out to talk and wait for what happens. In the main room of the courtyard, a young man in his 20s looked at himself in the mirror, with sword eyebrows and starry eyes, a high nose bridge, and a clearly defined face. He was also tall and imposing. Wu said that he was recalling his own memories in this body. He is still an unemployed wanderer now. When someone wears it, it comes with work. He is still unemployed and will have to wait for his job to be assigned later. His father was a martyr, his mother died in service, and he is the only one in the family. The whole family is not hungry. Jia Zhang, who lives in the same yard as him, is already a first-class worker. He has only been in the factory for a year now, and even that foolish pillar is working as an apprentice in Hongbin building, with a serious job. He is really facing some difficulties now. Just as Wu was saying that he didn't know what to do, a mechanical voice rang out in his mind. Dingdong, congratulations to the host for obtaining the Check.in exchange system. The host can check in at any location to obtain Check.in points, obtain different items and skills based on the Check.in points, or use Check.in points to enhance and upgrade skills, etc. Dingdong, congratulations to the host for obtaining the beginner's gift pack, Baji Fist, Ming and Qin Royal Culinary Skills, agility plus 50, can fly over eaves and walls. Suddenly, Wu Sogu felt his body becoming stronger and more relaxed. Wu Sogu tentatively punched, and it was indeed full of strength. Wu's mind is filled with various culinary recipes, ranging from different local dishes to various delicacies, and his cooking skills are all integrated with his body. Wu said that this agility needs to be tested later to know, but it naturally doesn't work in this room right now. Dingdong, may I ask if the host wants to sign in at the Red Star Courtyard in Nanluogu Lane? Check in. Wu said without hesitation. He didn't expect his system to go online so promptly, which was not a scam on him. Dingdong, congratulations to the host for successfully checking in and obtaining 30 Check.in points. May I ask if the host wants to use or exchange the Check.in points? Wu said that after checking in, there is currently nothing to exchange at the 30 Check.in point. Dudu. Wu claimed that the door of his home was quickly knocked on by someone. The Wu family kid, come out quickly. The matchmaker has brought the girl, and you should also follow Dongshu out to welcome her. The deaf old lady's voice sounded at the door. The deaf old lady's body and bones are still very agile, and the 3 masters have not been selected yet. In the courtyard, the deaf old lady is now the spokesperson, who is also responsible for mediating conflicts, but often favors the foolish pillars that Zhonghai and Wu call difficult to deal with. Here we are. Wu agreed and went out. Wu remembered that today was the day when the matchmaker came to visit with the introduced girl. Because they were looking for the same matchmaker as the Jia family, the date of meeting was also set on the same day. However, they brought 2 girls and this matchmaker was quite skilled in handling affairs. Wu said that when he arrived at the yard, he saw Jia Dongshu who was already waiting here. Jia Dongshu was wearing a clean white shirt with a big back, but his skin was a bit dark and his appearance was a bit dry, and he was 1 head shorter than what Wu called, which was just over 1.6 meters. Wu claimed to be 1.83 meters tall, standing with Jia Dongshu like an adult carrying a child. However, Jia Dongshu had a pair of leather shoes on his feet, not his usual cloth shoes. Jia Dongshu, where did you come from with these big leather shoes? Wu Dongshu looked at Jia Dongshu's mismatched leather shoes and said with some amusement. It was my dad who lent it to him. My dad wears size 45 and his feet are size 40, said Su Damao, who is 16 or 17 years old. Su Damao can now vaguely see what he will look like in the future, with sharp-tongued monkey cheeks, a horse-like face, and doesn't look like a good person. Su Damao, stop talking nonsense. Our family has given money to your family, Jia Dongshu snorted and said. Jia Dongshu looked at Wu Shua very dissatisfied. You too. What are you doing? I've been waiting for you here for so long. Wu said with a nonchalant smile, are you foolish? I didn't let you wait for me either. You can go out and pick them up yourself. If you had gone out just now, you might have already brought them to the yard by now. How are you talking? I'm not thinking that we should both go on a blind date together, so that you don't pick on me and we can compete fairly, Jia Dongshu said forcefully. Actually, Jia Dongshu was afraid and didn't dare to go out on his own. Let's go, they're still waiting. Wu Shoushou snorted and said he had left. Jia Dongshu quickly followed suit. The alleyway is also full of the style of the 1950s and 1960s. The house is somewhat dilapidated, desolate and pitch black. The doors of each courtyard are still tightly locked. Even many courtyards have raised their walls, fearing thieves, and the alley is pitch black, which looks a bit eerie and terrifying. There are still many hooligans and villains now. Although there are patrols, law enforcement agencies require everyone to stay at home as much as possible and not go out when they have nothing to do. Wu said that he dared to move forward by holding a flashlight and observing the surroundings. Fortunately, there wasn't much going on along the way. When Wu Soso arrived at the entrance of the alley, he saw 3 women standing under the dim light of the street lamp, being pressed step by 3 strong men holding light. What are you doing? Jia Dongshu shouted loudly. Kid, don't meddle in your affairs, or I'll ruin you. The strong man in charge turned around and glared fiercely at Jia Dongshu. Mind your own business and get out of here quickly, otherwise it will take your life, the strong man warned again, waving the sharp dagger in his hand. Dongshu, help us quickly. Dongshu, you can't ignore us. I brought the girl you're going on a blind date with, the elderly matchmaker shouted at Jia Dongshu. Because this time it was mainly for Jia Dongshu's blind date, Wu referred to it as a companion. As Jia Dongshu grew older, his family could afford the dowry and had a serious job. What does Wu claim to have and what can he expect from him? Kid, dare you come and give it a try. I'll let you put a white knife in and a red knife out. The strong man looked at Jia Dongshu's eager expression and charged towards him with a dagger, ready to stab him. But Jia Dongshu had already run out for several meters and disappeared directly into the darkness, leaving only Wu Shua here. Chapter 2. Dating Object Ding Qiunan, Seeking Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The long-haired bandit waved the knife in his hand and sternly warned Wu Shua, Kid, are you looking for death? If you don't leave, don't blame us for being impolite. Bang! Ouch! As soon as the bandit finished speaking, he was kicked over his arm by Wu Shuai. The dagger fell to the ground, and Wu Shuai grabbed onto the long-haired bandit's wrist again. With a click, the bone broke. Wu claimed that at this moment, his whole body was filled with a murderous aura, and he charged straight towards the other two bandits. The bandits saw that Wu had two moves and quickly dodged, but Wu's movements were faster. Under the complete pressure of their strength and moves, these 5 bandits quickly lay on the ground crying and shouting for their parents. Some of their bones were broken to some extent, and they had no strength to fight back, but they didn't even touch Wu's so-called clothes. Those 2 girls were still a bit scared and undecided, their pale faces hadn't calmed down yet. The matchmaker was already old and had just experienced the war. Xiao Wu, it's really thanks to you. If you also leave us like Jia Dongshu, we really don't know what to do. The matchmaker gratefully said to Wu Soso. Although Jia Dongshu has relatively good conditions, the matchmaker still has a more favorable impression of Wu, because Wu claims that this child is polite, courteous, and has a more dignified appearance. Who doesn't like young, handsome, polite, and well-mannered young men? Even if Jia Dongshu looks average, his moral character is not that good. He used to be famous in the alley and likes to take advantage of small things. Now that something has happened and he sees difficulties, he just leaves them and doesn't care about their life or death. I'll send these people to the law enforcement office first, and you can also go with us. Go to the law enforcement office to give a confession, so as not to let these people continue to harm others, Wu said. The matchmaker nodded, and the 2 girls also came over slowly. The police station is not far from Nanluogu Lane, just 2 blocks away. These bandits are now bold and dare to rob the law enforcement office with knives not far away. In fact, there is still a lot of waste waiting to be done now. Many places have not yet completed their allocation work, or even the old thugs and bullies have not been afraid of these things in their eyes. After being beaten down by Wu, they still look rebellious and unconvinced. But they were still honestly taken to the law enforcement office by Wu Shua, and the people at the law enforcement office were also surprised. After recording their testimony, Wu Shua asked them to go back and said that the street lights would be installed soon and patrols would be strengthened. Wu claimed that such behavior also belongs to the act of showing bravery, but the specific rewards still need to wait until these people are convicted before they can be given to Wu. After solving these problems, Wu Soso took them back to the yard, and it was already after 8 p.m. In the yard, everyone is already on guard. They have all heard from Jia Dongshu that there are bandits outside. Quickly lock the gate of the yard, regardless of whether Wu claims it is still outside. We can't just set up these people in the yard for Wu's sake, can we? Now not only are the doors closed in the yard, but the young and middle-aged men are also making do with it, ready to fight against the bandits at any time. Knives, ropes, and bricks are all ready. Several torches have been raised in the yard now, illuminating the entire area. Lao Yi, we just closed the door like this. Wu said he's still outside, what should he do? Yen Bugue said intentionally. That's just that there's nothing we can do. With bandits, you used to know how terrifying it was to make trouble with them. Wu said that it's impossible to blame others, but who wouldn't let them know how to run away? Zhonghai complained. But isn't there another matchmaker outside, and 2 other girls? Yen Bugue said again. What does that have to do with us? So many of us can't go all out for them, can we? They don't know how to run. Who can they blame if they're unlucky? Zhonghai snorted. That's right, we can't expect so many of us to go out and fight against several bandits. They're still holding knives in their hands. These bandits are all willing to go out for money and not for their lives. It's their own bad luck, right? Lu Haizhong also said. This is called life and death, destiny, wealth and fortune are in heaven. Fortunately, my son is clever and knows how to run back. As Wu said, he wants to be a hero, but his heart is soft and he doesn't know how to run. I think he will definitely have bad luck this time. Jia Zhang happily said. Jia and Zhang are most eager for Wu to have an accident, because Wu is about the same age as his own son and grew up together. However, many aspects of the comparison between the two are also very obvious. Wu said that he has been pink-carved and jade-carved since he was young, and he looks likable. Jia Dongshu is simply hard to find in the crowd. After going to school, Wu Shuo was always praised by the teachers, but Jia Dongshu was criticized in various ways. The two of them are completely contrasting in every aspect, with Wu being a positive role model and Jia Dongshu being a negative teaching material. Nowadays, Jia Dongshu has taken on the position of old Jia and entered the factory, even becoming a formal worker. Wu Dongshu has not even found a job yet, which has helped Jia and Zhang balance their minds. If Wu claimed to die now, the house and his family would belong to his own family. That would be the best. This bandit came just in time. Knowing that Jia Dongshu was getting married, he took Wu's life. Bang bang bang. Just as Jia Zhang finished speaking confidently, there was a hurried knocking at the entrance. Open the door, open the door, open the door, Wu Xiao shouts. No problem, Wu said. He ran back and followed the bandits. Jia Dongshu exclaimed in panic. We can't open the door. Jia Zhang made a decisive decision. Open the door, open the door, open the door. Wu said, feeling a bit impatient, even starting to kick the vermilion door. Those two girls and the matchmaker are still following. The girl who is very beautiful, with delicate eyebrows and eyes, big and watery eyes, flowing autumn waves, and a graceful figure is called Qinhuairu. And just like a lotus blooming in clear water, she is also very beautiful, with a slender and tall figure, porcelain white skin, cold and beautiful facial features, and a temperament like orchids. She is also quiet along the way, giving people a sense of distance, called Qiunan. Both of them are just 18 years old, at a time when their youth is like a flower, nature looks the best. Both of them are from the northern suburbs, just looking for a city person. Chapter 3. Jia Zhang's fear of long dreams at night, seeking flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They are here to go on a blind date with Wu Shuo and Jia Dongshu. It goes without saying that Jia Dongshu's wife is Qinhuairu, so their own should be this Ding Qiunan. However, isn't Ding Qiunan a character from Iron Fan or Steel? And that drama also started in the 1960s, just like the quadrangle. Can it be said that due to the butterfly effect that came with me, there was also a small difference in this? Mind him. If you don't open the door again, don't blame me for knocking on the door, Wu said angrily. After a few seconds of silence, Wu Shuo kicked open the originally sturdy vermilion door, saying, bang. After Wu said he walked into the courtyard with his people, Zhonghai immediately came over to question. Wu said, what do you mean? You kicked this good door and broke it. What will happen when the bandits come later? Yeah, Wu said, what do you want us to do when the bandits come later? Wu said, you bastard, there are still elderly people and children in the yard. If you don't think for us, you should also think for them. Wu said, if the bandits come, we won't end up with you. Wu said he was too selfish. He's really not a good person. He brought the bandits to our yard. Then give me an explanation, why don't you open the door? Wu said with a sneer. We were thinking of opening the door for you, but who knew you kicked it open? Now that the door is broken, what do you say when the bandits come? Zhonghai accused. Are you afraid of bandits? Am I not afraid? If bandits come after me, will you watch me die outside? If you want to open the door, how long have we been waiting outside? Wu said coldly. Humph, anyway, when the bandits arrive later, you have to take responsibility. Who asked you to recruit the bandits? You should block us in the front. From my perspective, your house will be compensated when the time comes, and this courtyard door will be repaired. You have implicated the people in the yard and recruited bandits for your own sake. Our yard cannot tolerate people like you who are so ruthless and lack unity spirit. Jia Zhang cursed and scolded Wu Shuo. Don't worry, there won't be any bandits. The bandits have already been arrested by the law enforcement, Wu said lightly. Are you really fake? You're not trying to deceive us, are you? Those bandits are so fierce, how could they be caught by the law enforcement? Jia Dongshu couldn't set aside any channels. Damn it, why should we let Wu Zhuo come back alive? It's best to let Wu Zhuo die. In this way, Wu So. Called house completely belongs to him. If he has Wu So. Called house, even if he wants to find a city girl, he can do it. Huang matchmaker became angry as she looked at Jia Dongshu. This useless and cowardly thing had just seen him swing his knife twice, and she was so scared that she hugged her head and ran away. She didn't even have the appearance of a strong and upright man. Huang matchmaker complained, of course this is Wu's So. Called credit. He doesn't want some people to be timid when they see bandits, and just leave the female comrades behind. Wu claims to be fearless of danger and act bravely in righteousness. If it weren't for Wu's claim, we would be in trouble now. Humph, some people are really not good people. They drop the chain at critical moments and can't be relied on. They don't seem like a man. Huang matchmaker's words are well known to fools. Isn't this cursing Jia Dongshu? Didn't Jia Dongshu say he immediately ran back when he saw the bandits? Originally, everyone thought Jia Dongshu was quite clever, but now when they hear Huang matchmaker's angry and disdainful expression, they all feel that Jia Dongshu is not interesting enough. Jia Zhang was not happy to see her son being said like this, so she burst into a loud scolding and said, "What do you know? If we encounter something like this on the way, who wouldn't run away first? It's important to save our lives first. Our family is just as strong as Dong Su. If anything happens to Dongshu, how can I survive? Why should I let my son go and save them? My son owes them, so it should be their fault. It's just their bad luck. Who can I blame? Some people like to show off their strength, so you need to be careful. Don't just show off and lose your life that day. Besides, who knows if this is true or false?" Wu said with a sneer, "If it's false, the bandits have already come in now. Are you still talking nonsense here? Since you're saying that, if you encounter anything in the future, don't blame others for not saving you. It's all your bad luck, you're unlucky. What did others owe you, right? Remember your words, if you really encounter bandits in the future, everyone can ignore it. It's her own bad luck, and I can't do it like some people do. I dare to run home, at least go to the law enforcement office. Hiding home, if the bandits really keep chasing you, you will cause great harm to the whole courtyard. It's probably that the courtyard won't even be able to close the door in time. You're a cowardly coward who only knows how to be a turtle with a shrunken head." Upon hearing Wu scold his disciple like this, Zhonghai, a master, couldn't sit still. He had been married for many years without children, so he regarded his disciple Jia Dongshu as his future elder. He is also his disciple and lives in the same yard. Zhonghai is very reassured by Jia Dongshu and thinks that Jia Dongshu is doing the right thing. If something happens to Jia Dongshu, how will he retire? Zhonghai shifted the topic and said, "Wu said, this door in our yard is fine, and you kicked it like this. How about giving us an explanation? Should you pay to repair this door? However, I don't think you have the money either. After all, you don't have a job. How about this? Let Jia Dongshu buy your big house and use the money to fix the door. Anyway, I don't think you can live in such a big place alone." Zhonghai seemed to be asking, but in fact, he was giving orders. In this courtyard, it is mostly Zhonghai who gives orders and is called the master. In fact, he has already regarded himself as the owner of the courtyard, and everyone is just his servants and tenants. Upon hearing these words, Jia Zhang became enthusiastic. It wouldn't cost much to fix the vermilion wooden door. It would be great if he could get the big house that his family wanted the most from Wu Soso. Wu claimed that there was only a small room left, and sooner or later he would be kicked out. Jia Zhang said with words, "That's right," Wu said. "That door is good, but it's not cheap. You kicked something that was there during the Qin dynasty. Do you know how much it costs to have the master repair it? You kicked it out, you scumbag. But as a good person in our family, if we help you fix the door, you can just give us the big house. We don't want the small house anymore. We'll give you a shelter from the wind and rain. We're still losing money. Repairing the door is not cheap, so hurry up and vacate the house." Jia Zhang was very eager, afraid that there would be too many dreams at night. Chapter 4. Zhonghai relying on the elderly to sell the elderly seeking flowers. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Watching Jia Zhang's eager and impatient expression, Wu Zhongyue was overjoyed and said, "You're really thinking beautiful. Are you crazy or just daydreaming? Do you want to hear what your dog is barking?" Upon hearing Wu Shua, who had always been honest and straightforward, dare to speak in such a rebellious manner, Jia Zhang immediately became furious. "Wu Shua, how are you talking? Are you crazy? How dare you talk to me like this?" Wu said that he has no father or mother in this courtyard, which means he is a young man with a generous personality, so he is naturally easy to bully. Jia Dongxiu and Su Damao have bullied him a lot, even Silly Zhu has bullied him a lot. Wu claimed that he was not as easy to talk about as the original owner. Wu sneered, "Am I not telling the truth? Your family is useless and there is no good house to marry your son. So you came up with the idea of my house. In your dreams, you calculated that others don't know, right? You're shameless. If you're so shameless, you can say it out loud. I think if someone marries Jia Dongxiu from your family in the future, it will be a disaster for 8 lifetimes. Don't even think about my house plan, don't be fooled by it." Jia Zhang's lungs are exploding with anger. Wu said this bastard dared to talk to her like this. If she didn't bring the house over, where would Jia Zhang's face be after all these years? Jia Dongxiu was also angry. Wu said that he didn't dare to speak too loudly with himself. Why did he say so his mother? Jia Dongxiu was furious and said, "Wu said, why are you talking to my mother? If you don't apologize to my mother again, fix the door in the yard, be careful that I won't be polite." Wu said as if he had heard some joke, "You're not polite. Then tell me, why are you being impolite to me? You're useless, give it a try. But if you're disabled, I won't compensate for the medical expenses. You'll have to take action first." Looking at Wu Soso's calm and composed demeanor, Jia Dongxiu hesitated a bit. He felt that Wu Soso's gaze was a bit fierce. If he were to take action, wouldn't he be able to please him? "Jia Dongxiu, what are you afraid of him doing? If you don't tidy him up properly, he might bully you in the future," Su Damao instigated, fearing that the world would not be chaotic. Being so provoked by Su Damao, Jia Dongxiu was also really angry in his heart. If he didn't teach Wu Shua a good lesson, Wu Shua wouldn't be able to ride on his own head in the future. Jia Dongxiu swung his fist and hit Wu Shosho, but before he could get close, he was slapped in the face by Wu Shosho. After turning a few times, Jia Dongxiu fell to the side and had a clear slap mark on his face. Wu said, "Do you dare to hit people?" Zhonghai was also angry. "It depends on the owner to beat a dog." Wu said, "How dare you hit his disciple? If you're not convinced, go find the street and law enforcement office. With so many people watching, don't show off your authority and make people laugh," Wu said sarcastically. "Is that how you talk to your elders? Are you cultured?" Zhonghai glared angrily and said, "What kind of elder are you? You don't even look at yourself in the mirror. Relying on your age, you'll be the elder at that stop, right? Then the 8th prince in the Yongding River is still your ancestor. Why don't you bring it back as a confession? Wu said disdainfully. Anyway, you kicked the house, you have to fix it, right? What about this? Zhonghai diverted the conflict. The front yard gate is a public property, which is also related to everyone's life and property safety. Everyone else followed suit and started making a scene. Whoever doesn't open the door for me, go find someone else. If you're afraid of bandits, don't open the door for me. Besides, I don't have any bandits here yet. I just went home. If you don't open the door, I'll kick the door. It's none of my business. If you're not convinced, go find the street or law enforcement office. Are you behaving like this? Wu said arrogantly. Lao Yi, just now I said that at least you must open the door to let Wu Shuo in. You can't blame me for not opening the door. I can't pay this money, Yan Bugue said immediately, afraid that he would have to spend money. That's right, Lao Yi, you didn't open the door. Lao Yi, you said you haven't fully understood yet, so you said you won't open the door. Lao Yi, it's you who won't open the door. Can't we help give you this money? Lu Haizhong, Su Fugue, and He Daqing have all started talking. Zhonghai, I advise you to fix the door as soon as possible. Don't wait for the bandits to really come. It's useless even if you fix it, Wu said with a snort. I'll find someone to fix the door later, and we'll talk about the money later. I'll cover it up first. Zhonghai knew he was at a loss and knew they couldn't afford to pay for it, so he had to spend money to fix it himself. If he didn't fix it, let alone others, he wouldn't be able to sleep soundly either. The current situation is not favorable for oneself, and the money issue will be discussed when it is favorable for oneself in the future. Those 2 girls, I have brought them to you now. Alright, I'll bring them over tomorrow noon and have a blind date, said matchmaker Huang. Hey, our meals are all ready, don't wait for tomorrow, Jia Zhang said, feeling sorry for the food. Now that it's all like this, what else is there for a blind date? Let's talk about it tomorrow. You can prepare again. Who can eat it now? Huang matchmaker was holding her anger at Jia Dongshu. Damn it, just now I was wandering on the edge of life and death, and Jia Dongshu left me and ran away. If it weren't for Wu, I wouldn't know what to do. That's it for tonight. You all go back and prepare well. Huang matchmaker waved her hand and gestured for Qin Huairu and Ding Qiunan to leave with her. This farce has come to an end, but everyone knows that Wu So-called brave and fearless, righteous and upright man, Jia Dongshu, is like a shrinking turtle. The next day. Dingdong, may I ask if the host wants to sign in at the Red Star Courtyard in Nanluogu Lane? Sign in. Dingdong, congratulations to the host for successfully signing in and earning 1 million yuan. This is a culinary skill from the Ming and Qing royal court. The current 1 million yuan is equivalent to 100 yuan in 62 years, but it is also quite durable. Wu said that after getting up to wash up, he would go out to buy groceries and prepare. He is now quite old and should really think about finding a wife. With a wife, the family doesn't have to be so cold and quiet anymore. But what he is interested in is not Qin Huairu, but the girl Ding Qiunan. Thinking of Jia Dongshu's fate later on, Qin Huairu still felt somewhat unlucky. Wu claimed to have bought 2 pounds of meat, 2 pounds of pork ribs, and a few more vegetables from the market. Although Wu claimed to be a big man, the room was also quite clean, so there was basically no need to tidy it up. Well, seeing the meat and pork ribs, as well as vegetables in Wu's hands, Jia Dongshu felt uncomfortable wandering in the yard. Damn it, Wu claimed to have bought so many vegetables. Isn't this another way to compare himself? No, I definitely can't lose to Wu Suo in terms of women. Jia Dongshu blocked Wu's way back to the house. Chapter 5. Did you not get enough beating? Seeking freshness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wu said, where did you get these things from? Jia Dongshu asked in a questioning tone, still looking arrogant. Jia Dongshu, what does this have to do with you? Is it related to half a penny? I didn't get enough beating last night, did I? Are you still looking for a beating? Wu said with a sneer. Upon hearing what Wu said about yesterday, Jia Dongshu became angry. Wu claimed that this bastard dared to hit him. What kind of thing is Wu supposed to be? Jia Dongshu snorted and said, "You slapped me yesterday. Shouldn't you apologize to me? Just give these dishes to our family and make up for them. Is that right?" Jia Dongshu said he was about to go and get the meat and pork ribs that Wu claimed to have in his hand, but Wu claimed that they had already been held high, and Jia Dongshu couldn't even reach them. Wu said coldly, "Jia Dongshu, have you not been beaten enough? You deserve to be beaten, right?" Jia Dongshu looked at the meat, and it was just a stone's throw in front of him, but he couldn't eat it. Wu claimed to be holding it so high, but Jia Dongshu got angry and said, "You've beaten me. Don't give me some compensation. Can you justify it? I'll tell you not to go too far." Wu said, glancing at him, "Who went too far? What's wrong? You still want to rob openly? If you get beaten, don't you deserve it? If you bring it to your doorstep to look for it, who can you blame? If you want to blame yourself, you can buy it yourself. Even if you can't afford it, you should have a bit of backbone. Don't worry about others' food, such a big young man." Upon hearing these words, Jia Dongshu's heart became even more angry. However, this meat and pork ribs, Jia Dongshu was also really greedy. Jia Dongshu didn't even remember the last time he ate this thing. Jia Dongshu was a bit discouraged and said, "Wu said, is this okay? Anyway, today noon is our blind date, so you can take these dishes to my house and have my mom cook them together. We'll save you trouble. How about that?" Jia Dongshu is still unwilling, he can't eat it himself, so what else should he buy for this meat and pork ribs? Wu's saying that eating is also a waste, isn't it? Wu shook his head and said, "It's not that good. Don't think about it, don't worry about it. If you really want to eat it, when it's ready later, you can come to our house with a bowl to smell it. Even if you feed the dog, we won't give you this meat and pork ribs." Speaking, Wu Shua took meat, pork ribs, and other dishes, bypassed Jia Dongshu, and returned to his own home. Wu means he's busy cooking and too lazy to talk to Jia Dongshu. If Jia Dongshu dares to owe him such a beating in his spare time, Wu won't be polite. Just beat him up and hit him directly. Wu said that although there is also a kitchen in the house that can cook, it is just a rustic stove like in the countryside, with 2 stoves on top and a chimney in one breath. Wu claimed to have washed all the dishes thoroughly, then started cooking with firewood and boiled water to remove the foam from the meat and pork ribs. Taking advantage of this time, Wu quickly cut the meat and pork ribs. Not to mention that the chef's craftsmanship is really good. As long as Wu Shua thinks, this meat and pork ribs can be cut into several pieces of similar size. After blanching all the meat and pork ribs with water and removing the foam, Wu said he would wash the pot and boil the oil again. First, he would add all the seasoning and stir-fry them with lard until fragrant. After the seasoning was stir-fried, Wu said he would put these dishes down again. The meat and seasoning mixed together in the pot, making a sizzling sound. Wu claimed to be nimble with his hands and feet, coupled with his excellent control over the seasoning and heat, the dishes he cooked were naturally not inferior. "It smells so good," Wu said as he tasted the tofu and minced meat he made himself. His taste was a bit stunning, and his eyes lit up. The royal court was a fusion of all the world's delicacies, luxurious clothing and delicacies. This word is not just for words. The food he ate was not only exquisite in terms of ingredients, but also the chef's craftsmanship. For the upcoming honeyed pork ribs, Wu Shua is also full of confidence, which can be said to be a good dish that Wu Shua has kept to the bottom of the box. In the courtyard, every household coincidentally smelled this fragrance. Whose family is this? What's so delicious? Zhonghai curiously said, smelling the fragrance, and the greedy insects in his mouth began to make a fuss. However, Zhonghai's nose was also quite agile. After smelling the fragrance, he found that it came from Wu's so-called room. Zhonghai still suppressed his desire for food and drink in his heart. Zhonghai comforted himself, saying that starving to death is a small matter, and misconduct is a big one. He must not let Wu Shou, that kid, see a joke. Why is this so fragrant? Who made something delicious? Lu Haizhong was also curious, and a craving insect also appeared in his stomach. Other people can't stand the smell. They are hungry for worms. They can drink more porridge and eat more coarse grain wawatu when they smell the smell. When it comes to smelling this fragrance, the most uncomfortable thing is still the Jia family. Last night, Jia and Zhang prepared a table of dishes, just to leave a good impression on the girls and try to settle the matter directly. Unexpectedly, the matchmaker did not even enter the door with the girls. Now that noon has arrived, it can only be eating leftover food from last night, but now it is summer again, and Jia Zhang's smell of the food seems to have a hint of spoilage. Anyway, at least their family came up with this kind of behavior. Yesterday, it was the matchmaker Huang who refused to eat, so no wonder they did. But what does Wu mean by saying that this person who received thousands of dollars made delicious food and bought a lot of vegetables, which is not moral? Is this going to make things difficult for their family? Outside, the matchmaker Huang had already brought 2 girls over, and as soon as they arrived here, they all smelled the fragrance. Mrs. Huang, Wu said politely. Aunt Huang, you're here. Why don't you come and have a meal at my house first? My mom has already prepared the food, Jia Dongshu said eagerly. Aunt Huang, my family has also prepared meals at home. My craftsmanship is pretty good, so come and taste it, too, Wu said. Auntie Huang, our family has been waiting for you since last night, Jia Dongshu objected. Jia Dongshu wanted someone to come to his own house to eat first, so he could choose first. I smell so fragrant, whose family made it delicious? The matchmaker couldn't help but say as she smelled the fragrance. It's my home. Why don't you bring the girls over and have a try? Wu said. Matchmaker Huang, don't forget to promise to come to our house first. Jia Dongshu was also unhappy. Chapter 6. Lunch with Qiunan, Seeking Flowers. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Matchmaker Huang also got into a difficult situation. Well, I won't say anything anymore. 2 girls have also arrived today. I have a fair bowl of water and won't favor one over the other. You both take 1 girl back for dinner. If it's suitable, it's best. If it's not suitable, you young people can communicate and exchange ideas with me. If you have any opinions, please let me know. Huang matchmaker couldn't bear the introduction fee promised by the Jia family, nor the delicious food, that's why she said so. Don't argue anymore, let the girl choose for herself. I have already told them about your conditions. Come on, this is Jia Dongshu, this is what Wu called, you can handle it yourself. Huang matchmaker said to Qinhuairu and Ding Qiunan. Qinhuairu looked at Jia Dongshu and realized that he didn't look very good. It would be great if Jia Dongshu looked like Wu claimed. Wu claimed that if he had the same qualifications as Jia Dongshu, at least he would have a serious job. Wu said that he doesn't even have a serious job now, what is this called? However, Wu claimed that he was really good looking. That's what Pianpian Gongzi said about him, and the sharp and decisive skills of last night's righteous act were simply the kind of man he wanted to be. But what's the use of just being good looking? People still have to live their lives, they should go higher, otherwise they don't have to come to the city to find a partner. With this in mind, Qinhuairu's balance shifted towards Jia Dongshu. Jia Dongshu is now a worker with an iron rice bowl and an old lady at home. In the future, when they get married and have children, they can also take care of them and help them. Wu said that everything in the family depends on oneself. I'll go to Jia Dongshu's house, Qin Huairu blushed. This is also expected by everyone. Jia Dongshu has better conditions than Wu claimed, with a stable job and an old lady to support him, all of which Wu claimed he did not have. Jia Dongshu was very satisfied in his heart. He had already defeated Wu Shuo once. Qin Huairu was a good woman, beautiful and well versed in current affairs, and he liked her very much. However, Jia Dongshu still couldn't bear to part with Qiunan. Qiunan is not only beautiful, but also more cultured in appearance. We need to compare them and see who has a lower dowry. Jia Dongshu asked, what do you think? I have a stable job, so you need to think carefully. Watching Jia Dongshu still asking Qiunan, Qin Huairu felt unhappy and worried in her heart. If Qiunan also chose Jia Dongshu, wouldn't that be to compete with her? No matter what, Jia Dongshu always has a job and a monthly salary. He must not let Qiunan steal it, and at most, he will ask for less dowry money. However, to everyone's surprise, Qiunan said, I choose Wu Shousheng. Jia Dongshu's originally proud expression instantly faded. You. What are you talking about? Wu said he doesn't have a job now, and his family only has him. I have a mother and a job. What else do you choose him for? Jia Dongshu just wanted to take this opportunity to humiliate Wu Shuo and regain his face. He wanted both girls to go to his house, ignoring Wu Shuo and seeing how Wu Shuo would end up and step down. I didn't expect this Qiunan to look cultured, but she is so ignorant of the times. It's useless for such a woman to take it. Humph, Huairu's sister, let's go. Some people will regret it in the future, but don't beg to come to me, Jia Dongshu snorted. Originally, Jia Dongshu thought that Qiunan had culture and would be better, but a woman who didn't give herself face would be useless if she came. Qin Huairu also breathed a sigh of relief in her heart. Qiunan heard that she had read a lot of books, and it must have been reading that made her mind go crazy. How could she choose a man with nothing? Can that face be used as food? If it becomes a hardship in the future, she will still have to endure it. Let's go, comrade Qiunan, Wu said. Qiunan nodded and followed Wu Shuo over. Matchmaker Huang said, well, I'll go see Huairu and Dong Su. I'll come back to see you later, and you guys can talk first. Huang matchmaker thought that Qiunan, a scholar, might be kind. Seeing that Qin Huairu didn't choose Wu Shuo, she chose Wu Shuo. Wu Shuo claimed that she had saved them last night. According to Wu, if that girl can really marry him on this condition, how can the two of them still live like this? Wu called home. As soon as she entered the room, Qiunan smelled a stronger fragrance, which hooked out the craving insects in her stomach. It was as if her saliva was about to flow out at the smell. Come on, sit whatever you want, don't be polite, Wu said. Qiunan nodded and looked at the room, which was quite clean. Wu claimed that he had already cut off the food in the kitchen. The food was cooked with a perfect combination of color, aroma, and flavor. Wu said, come and try it. After serving both of them rice, Qiunan nodded and also moved her chopsticks. Thank you very much for last night's incident. If it weren't for you, we might not have known what would have happened. It's okay, as a big man, I can't just watch you girls being bullied like this. Besides, I've practiced a few times before. Come on, eat quickly and see how it tastes, Wu said humbly. Delicious, are you making all of this yourself? It's even more delicious than those chefs outside, Qiunan said after tasting a piece of pork ribs. Yes, look at this place in my house. Do I also seem to be able to find someone else to cook? If you like to eat, eat more, don't be polite, Wu said again. You can eat it too, this table of food is really troublesome for you, Qiunan said with some embarrassment. She didn't like Jia Dongshu, and Wu said he was also quite polite and polite. Coming to his place for a meal, it's good to make more friends. What do the superiors say about your job now? Qiunan asked. It's still being arranged, but it's not urgent. Do you follow the organization's arrangements? I heard you're currently at the North Suburb Machine Repair Factory. Wu Soso asked. Yeah, we were assigned a job, but I want to pursue further education. I can only become a worker farmer trainee, but this matter needs to be approved by the main factory. The main factory is the third rolling steel plant, and I need someone with a household registration in the 4 or 9 cities to help me. Only then can I transfer my household registration to the city and transfer my job. Qiunan also truthfully explained. If it weren't for work, she wouldn't be coming for a blind date now. Now Qiunan is asking her uncle to help her become an apprentice in the medical room of the North Suburb Machine Repair Factory. With her teacher, she can treat a cold and cough, but there is nothing to teach her. Qiunan herself is a diligent and hard-working person who wants to further her studies to improve herself. However, she has to go through so much trouble. She doesn't have any relatives from the 4 or 9 cities in her family, let alone those who meet her migration household registration, so she can get married. Chapter 7. Is it okay to be friends? Seeking flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although Jia Dongshu has good conditions and a serious job, Qiunan really doesn't like him. Jia Dongshu's appearance is not what she likes, and even with the incident last night, she knows that Jia Dongshu must not be reliable. On the contrary, Wu claimed that this person is more capable of handling things, and he also has a good appearance. His thick clothes and linen cloth cannot hide his sword eyebrows and stars. Although Wu claimed that he doesn't have a serious job right now, if he were to find him, he would also have skills and definitely not rely on himself to support the family. He doesn't seem to be able to eat soft rice, but can he see himself? But I must solve my own job in order to continue my studies in university. It seems that I still need to continue blind dates. Wu claimed to know that he didn't have a serious job yet, and he definitely didn't look up to him either. Wu asked, "What do you think of Jia Dongshu in our yard?" Qiunan was surprised. How could someone not ask how they treated him, but instead how they treated others, but still said, "That's it. I don't like him that way." Upon hearing Qiunan's words, Wu Shua felt relieved. In fact, Wu Shua was also worried that Qiunan might have something to do with Jia Dongshu, that is, a flower was planted on cow dung. Qiunan asked again, "What do you think of the girl named Qin Huairu who came with me?" Wu said without hesitation, "It's not the type I like." Qiunan smiled and said, "She's so good looking. How could you not like her? She's beautiful and famous in all their towns and villages. Indeed, in the drama, Qin Huairu has already given birth to 3 children, and her charm still lingers. She has stunned silly Zhu for a moment, not to mention that she is not married yet. It's like clear water giving birth to lotus flowers." Wu explained seriously, "Sometimes we can't just look at our appearance. There are so many good-looking people, and I can't like everyone, right? However, I think you're still pretty good. Let's just make friends, okay? You don't have to bear any psychological burden." Upon hearing these words, Qiunan smiled lightly and said, "Okay, then let's become friends. I'll officially introduce myself, Qiunan. Hello, Wu Shua." Wu Shua politely said. Creak. At this moment, matchmaker Huang pushed open the door and came in. "How did your conversation go?" "It's great, we've met now and plan to become friends," Wu said. "Well, let's just make more friends," Qiunan also said. "If it weren't for fate, it would be nice to be friends," but Jia Dongshu and Qin Huairu were quite interesting and had a good conversation. "Xiao Wu, did you cook a good meal yourself?" Huang matchmaker smiled. Huang matchmaker didn't expect Wu to succeed here. She hasn't assigned her work properly yet. Even if she has a good appearance, it's still difficult to find a partner. "Yes, come on, you can also try it. My craftsmanship is quite good. If you don't believe me, ask Comrade Qiunan," Wu said. "Okay, let me try it too." It's not easy for young people to get married together. It's normal that we can't get married together. Fate hasn't arrived yet. Xiao Wu, don't worry, Auntie will inquire about your situation. Huang matchmaker smiled. It's okay, it's really worth meeting Comrade Ding Qiunan as a good friend, Wu said with a smile. Matchmaker Huang nodded in satisfaction. Wu was indeed kind, not like some people. The other girl didn't like him and didn't even want to treat him to a meal. She even chased after the other girl and gave him his share of the meal money. For example, Jia Dongshu was like this before. Jia Dongshu went on blind dates with several girls from the city, but they didn't look up to him. He didn't look very good, just because he worked. Everyone had a city household registration, just like who wouldn't have one. Matchmaker Huang came to Wu's place for dinner, feeling that the atmosphere was different and much more relaxed. There was no Jia Zhang and Jia Dongshu calculating this or that. Just now, Jia Zhang and Jia Dongshu had been trying to suppress the introduction fee and dowry money for the woman. Matchmaker Huang refused to agree and couldn't eat with them anymore. She even said she had eaten their meals, which should be included in the introduction fee. Matchmaker Huang was so angry that she left them alone and came to Wu's so-called home. Your food is so delicious, and your skills are so great. If that girl can find you in the future, it would be a blessing. Having a job doesn't mean you won't be hungry. Having skills is what truly won't make you hungry in these peaceful times, let alone cooking. Matchmaker Huang couldn't help but speak up for Wu So-so, wanting to see if Ding Qiunan also had that kind of meaning. If you like the food here, you can come and sit with Comrade Ding Qiunan often in the future. I'll treat you to a meal, don't be polite, eat more, Wu said. Wu claimed to be polite, thoughtful, generous, and enthusiastic in every way, which is much better than the calculations of the Jia and Zhang families. He had just eaten 2 more bites of food at the Jia family, and the Jia and Zhang families were just like that, so he didn't eat much, so he came to Wu's so-called home. After eating 2 bowls of rice, Matchmaker Huang had hiccups and still felt a bit unsatisfied. Your craftsmanship is really good. You have this skill. If you are willing to wait for the job to be assigned, Auntie will definitely introduce you to a girl who satisfies you. No problem, then let's wait for me to assign a job for the blind date. Wu said with a big wave of his hand, once the job is assigned, the autonomy to find a partner is in his own hands, which means he will pick someone else. Oh. Matchmaker Huang suddenly frowned and covered her stomach. What's wrong with you? Wu asked. It seems like I'm going to have diarrhea. Where is the restroom in your hospital? Matchmaker Huang frowned and said in pain, feeling like she was about to go through a storm in her stomach. Right there, let's go. I'll take you there, Wu said. Ding Qiunan also followed out and stayed alone at someone else's house, feeling embarrassed. After Huang Matchmaker entered the thatched cottage, Jia Zhang and Jia Dongshu, as well as Qin Huairu, rushed over eagerly, covering their stomachs with a painful expression on their faces. What's wrong with you? Wu said with a smile as he looked at them. Wu said, don't talk nonsense, we need to go to the toilet, Jia Dongshu said, covering his stomach. Jia Zhang had already rushed into one of the toilets, while the other one was the matchmaker Huang. Chapter 8. Aunt Huang, don't pity him, begging for flowers. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. There are only 2 toilets in the yard. Now Jia Dongshu and Qin Huairu are holding their stomachs and feeling extremely uncomfortable. Wu said, if you have a toilet at home, I can borrow it from you. Jia Dongshu covered his stomach and said, heading towards Wu's so-called home. Wu Shua immediately blocked it and said, hey, this is not possible. Who wouldn't know that Jia Dongshu's use of the restroom is notorious for its foul odor? Fortunately, you only do it once every 3 to 5 days. If you do it once, the whole hospital will have to smell your scent and feel nauseous all day. You're going too far. If you still want to come to my house and have a taste like you if you do it at my house, I won't be able to sleep when I smell you at night. It might take several days to eat at home, so don't even think about it. Qin Huairu covered her stomach and said, Comrade Wu, if you don't let Comrade Jia Dongshu go to your house to use the toilet, you can always let me come to your house to use the toilet, right? Originally, Qin Huairu thought Wu Shuo would agree, but to her surprise, Wu Shuo refused and said, I'm sorry, I like to be clean. I'm not used to having outsiders come to my house to use the restroom, as everyone knows. You also understand me. There is a restroom in the entire courtyard, which is my home. If I don't do this, sometimes everyone comes to my house to use the restroom for convenience, and my house is not a public restroom. Qin Huairu couldn't help but blush and said, Comrade Wu, I'm really feeling uncomfortable now. You can borrow your toilet. I'll definitely clean it up for you later and won't dirty your toilet. Wu shook his head and said, it's still not possible. If you're in a hurry and there's no toilet in the alley yet, you can go over there. There are many pits there. Upon hearing Wu's words, Jia Dongshu gritted his teeth and said, good for you, Wu. You wait for me. Speaking, Jia Dongshu took Qin Huairu to the public toilet and thatched cottage in the alley to use the toilet. There are public thatched cottages, with one room for men and one room for women. The bottom is a septic tank, and the one squatting on top are all separated by wooden boards. There's no need to say much about the environment. Let's go back and continue eating. You probably haven't had enough yet, Wu said to Ding Qiunan. Ding Qiunan nodded and followed her back to the house. After Ding Qiunan returned to Wu Shoushou's home again, she saw that there were 2 rooms in Wu Shoushou's house, and although the sparrow was small, it had all 5 organs. The kitchen and toilet had their own, so there was no need to use public ones. This was very satisfying for Ding Qiunan, who loved hygiene. But Ding Qiunan felt that being satisfied was useless. If her mother had a partner, she wouldn't have to worry about anything. She didn't have many opportunities, and she was different from Jia Dongshu. It's impossible to really find a rural girl. But then again, I can't be considered a rural girl myself. As long as my job is transferred to the city, I can also be a city resident. If you're stuck working here. As Wu said, you should be friends with yourself. Ding Qiunan is a person with extremely strong self-esteem. Unless there is absolutely no way out, Ding Qiunan will not compromise with others. This work household registration issue is a compromise for Ding Qiunan, otherwise she wouldn't be in a hurry to find a partner to marry. What's wrong with them all? Why are they all covering their stomachs one by one? Aren't you a factory doctor? Can you tell anything? Wu said. They all have diarrhea at the same time, but looking at their spirits, they are quite full. It should be because they ate something bad, or because they ate something too cold. Their stomachs are a bit uncomfortable, and if they have diarrhea, it will be better, Ding Qiunan said. Why did you eat so well and ruin your stomach? Wu said with emotion. I don't know, but do you have that laxative at home? Give it to Aunt Huang later, Ding Qiunan said. Yes, I'll take it out for you, Wu said. Wu said he dug out the medicine box at home. In this era, there were not many people who had medicine boxes in their homes. Seeing this medicine box, Ding Qiunan felt a bit curious and asked, how could you have a medicine box in your home? My mother used to be a doctor, studying traditional Chinese medicine. There are both traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine, and she keeps them at home for regular replacement, such as those with colds and coughs, and those with sore throats. Wu said. I didn't expect it to be like this, but this is really a coincidence. I also have this habit in my daily life, but I like to put some medicine for colds, coughs, and sore throats at home, Ding Qiunan said. Isn't it common to be a doctor like this? I enjoy doing these things. If you feel bored here, come on, go to that small room where my mother usually reads medical books, both traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine, Wu said. Is that okay? Then I'll go and see, Ding Qiunan said. As a doctor, of course, I would also like to see what my peers can learn from. Sure, it's okay. You can go and take a look, and I'll also go and read a book. There's no need to rush to tidy up these things. Maybe Aunt Huang hasn't finished eating yet. I'll just tidy them up myself later, Wu said. Wu really doesn't know what to say to Qiunan. If he were to inquire about someone's work and life, it would be presumptuous and excessive. So let's work on our own things. After more than half an hour, the matchmaker Huang limped and felt as if she had been emptied, and arrived at Wu's so-called home. Next to him were the majestic Jia Zhang, as well as Jia Dongxiu, a salt worker who posed as a provocateur. Wu Shua, come out and explain to me clearly. What's wrong with Huang matchmaker? Why does she have diarrhea after eating at your house? Jia Zhang didn't knock on the door and pushed open the open door, coming up to Wu Shua and asking after him. I see if you think that Aunt Huang didn't succeed in introducing you to someone, so you deliberately wanted to assassinate Aunt Huang. You are also too malicious. Wu said, I really didn't expect you to be so useless. You are such a person. Jia Dongxiu said with resentment. You must compensate the matchmaker Huang today. This matter can't just be settled. You are too bad of you, Jia Zhang scolded. What are you talking nonsense about? What's the matter with Wu? Please explain this to me clearly. Don't try to deny responsibility, Huang matchmaker hummed. What responsibility do we have? Didn't you say that eating at his house caused him to have a stomachache? Jia Zhang said with a guilty heart. That's right, what does it have to do with us? Aunt Huang, don't pity him, just think of blackmailing us. Jia Dongxiu also felt guilty and said. Chapter 9. Does Jia Zhang want Wu to take the blame? Seeking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Both mother and son knew in their hearts that there was a problem with their own food. Matchmaker Huang ate that food and had diarrhea, so she naturally wanted to seek compensation from the Jia family. They don't want to lose money, nor do they want to offend matchmaker Huang. After all, Jia Dongxiu's marriage has not been decided yet. So, the mother and son decided not to make an appointment but to stick together and shift this responsibility onto Wu Shou. Anyway, the matchmaker Huang caused diarrhea while eating at Wu Shou's house. Why are they responsible? Huang auntie, it's none of my business to have diarrhea. Besides, you also have diarrhea. Isn't that the reason for your family's food? Comrade Qiunan also ate my family's food, and I also ate it. How come we didn't have diarrhea? Wu said discontentedly. Anyway, I don't care. Aunt Huang pulled a calf while eating at your house, so you have to take responsibility for her. We are responsible for it ourselves, so you don't have to take responsibility, Jia Dongxiu said with great compassion. Do I still want to thank you? If you want to say this, let's go talk to the street and law enforcement office and see what they say. Who should be responsible for this? I won't evade responsibility, and I won't take the blame, Wu said confidently. What's wrong with you, kid? Why are you so ignorant? Why do you have to go to the street and law enforcement office for everything? They are busy. Can they take care of your trivial matters when they have time? Don't trouble them, that's all. You're responsible for the yellow matchmaker's diarrhea. Jia Zhang ignored everything and wanted to fish in troubled waters. Don't try to pretend here. If you have reason, why are you afraid of going to the streets and law enforcement agencies? Wu said, it's not that easy to deceive. That's right, if I have a problem with Wu's so-called home food and comrade Qiunan has also eaten it, why is he okay? Wu's so-called nothing is okay, but I watched Wu's so-called eating too. Matchmaker Huang snorted. Originally, there were not many matchmakers in this industry who were willing to take on Jia Dongxiu's affairs, because their family was known for being naughty and had many things to do. However, Huang matchmaker noticed that the Jia family had given a high referral fee and even charged a deposit of 50,000 yuan for the referral fee. Now matchmaker Huang knows how difficult it is to serve Jia Zhang, Jia Dongshu, and her son. No wonder she has made such a big order, and others have to look at her with sympathy and pity. Emotional money is not easy to obtain. Jia Zhang, Jia Dongshu, I don't care. You must compensate me with an additional 50,000 yuan for the cost of diarrhea. Otherwise, I won't care about Jia Dongshu's relationship, said Huang matchmaker with dissatisfaction. 50,000 yuan, why don't you go grab it? Our family has already given you a lot of referral fees. I can tell you not to be too greedy, people don't have enough hearts to swallow an elephant. Jia Zhang couldn't help but say. The introduction of Fei Jia and Zhang's family has been heartbroken for a long time, it's enough to cover their monthly expenses alone. Just like your family, if I knew it was like this and gave me 500,000 yuan, I would have to consider it. I deserve not to be able to find a partner. Humph, if you don't lose money on this money, I won't care about anything else, said matchmaker Huang. Aunt Huang, don't be angry. Can't we still give this money to our family? Jia Dongshu could only say. This time, matchmaker Huang brought Qin Huairu and Qiunan, and Jia Dongshu was quite satisfied and liked them. Just now, both he and Qin Huairu thought that the other party was pretty good, and they were about to get things done. This shouldn't be a slap in the face. He wants to temporarily talk to Qin Huairu about a partner now, and then ask the matchmaker to help him with some kind words in front of Qiunan, to see if he can win over Qiunan. Jia Dongshu already knows why Qiunan is going on a blind date, mainly to find a partner in the 4 or 9 cities, to obtain a household registration and become a city resident, so that Qiunan can also be transferred to the city for work. If we become friends, there will be only 2 people working and earning money in our own family. Moreover, Qiunan is not inferior to Qin Huairu in appearance, both of whom are of good age and look like flowers. It can be said that each person has their own unique beauty. Choosing Qin Huairu is not a loss for oneself, choosing Qiunan is a gain for oneself, and Jia Dongshu has his own weighing of pros and cons. How could Jia Zhang know that his son was calculating in his heart? After hearing that his son was willing to give an extra 50,000 yuan to the matchmaker, Jia Zhang's face didn't look good anymore. He shook his face and said, "How much can you buy with 50,000 yuan? How can you just give it?" "Humph, that's pretty much the same. Seeing that you're still sensible, when you had contact with Huairu, I took you over to propose marriage. Now that I know I've found a wife, it's sensible, different," said Huang matchmaker with satisfaction. Of course, you have to take the trouble to arrange this for me. I will definitely thank you very much. Jia Dongshu was praised and smiled happily. "I'll go back to my house and get the money now, you wait for me," Jia Dongshu said. Jia Dongshu works at the steel rolling mill, and besides providing daily expenses for Jia Zhang's family, he holds all the money in his own hands. Jia Dongshu has an advantage, which is that he doesn't eat or drink recklessly, and his salary is honestly saved up to marry his wife. Jia Zhang looked at Jia Dongshu running excitedly, unable to stop him. If she could find out this morning that Jia Dongshu was willing to spend 50,000 yuan, she should have bought groceries again. This summer, the food is prone to spoilage. Losing. Jia Zhang looked at Jia Dongshu giving money to matchmaker Huang, feeling extremely heartbroken. When Jia Dongshu gave money to her, she didn't feel so happy. "Aunt Huang, this is a laxative. You should feel better after taking this. There's plenty of hot water," Wu said. Wu said, "Give me some medicine too." Jia Dongshu saw the medicine and his eyes lit up. "I can't give it. There were bandits last night, and you kept me outside the door. If you still want medicine, I threw it away and won't give it to you," Wu said with disdain. "Isn't it just this kind of thing?" Wu said, "Why are you such a stingy and petty man? Take care of more things and hold grudges like this. Jia Zhang said. If it's none of your business, I'll just hold grudges. Can you handle it? You know I still hold grudges against your family, so don't provoke me in the future, Wu said, cursing. Besides, aren't there no bandits? Wu said, give me some medicine, go out and buy it, it's still a bit far away. Jia Dongxiu didn't want to go that way. We can give you the money, right? Jia Zhang also said. 30,000 yuan per person, Wu said with a snort. You're also stealing money, forget it, there's no need. I'll go out and buy it myself, Jia Zhang snorted and left, cursing Wu for his so-called black-hearted liver, while leaving. Chapter 10. Are you coming to my house? Seeking flowers. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Jia Dongxiu and Qin Huairu have fallen in love, but it is said that Wu claimed that they did not succeed, which has made Jia Dongxiu very happy. When matchmaker Huang was taking them back, Jia Dongxiu called matchmaker Huang aside and shared his thoughts with her. Huang matchmaker became unhappy as she listened to Jia Dongxiu's wishful thinking crackle. Dongxiu, it wasn't me talking about you. How could you be so unkind? You're just eating from the bowl and looking at the pot. What do you want Qin Huairu to do if you're like this? Jia Dongxiu felt a bit embarrassed, but he still said, isn't getting married like this. It's definitely better to find someone who can help you. It's better for two people in the family to work and receive wages than for one person to work and receive wages. The income is different, and the days are different. Huang matchmaker said discontentedly, since you know it's like this, just say what you mean. Why are you still hanging on to Qin Huairu like this? Dongxiu, you have a problem with your thinking and consciousness. How can young people talk about objects like this? Jia Dongxiu quickly pushed another 50,000 yuan over and said, you've been putting in a lot of trouble. Could you please? And didn't you also mention it? She's also in a hurry to find someone with a household registration in 49 cities to handle her job transfer. We need to hurry up with the job transfer. If it drags on like this and the leader reneges, what should we do? Let's just say that. Let's go, I'll take them back, and I won't trouble you. Watching Jia Dongxiu so sensible, she suddenly had an extra 100,000 yuan in her hand. Huang matchmaker couldn't say anything more. Jia Dongxiu helped her send someone off and saved her time. Matchmaker Huang nodded and said, okay, considering that you are also sensible and sincere, I will trouble you. Don't worry about your situation, I will help you talk about it. Seeing that matchmaker Huang agreed, Jia Dongxiu was also very happy. If he got along with Qiunan, he would kick Qin Huairu away. If Qiunan didn't agree, there would also be Qin Huairu. After chatting with matchmaker Huang, Jia Dongxiu came to Qin Huairu and Qiunan and said, and Huang just said, there are still some things to attend to. I'll take you back. Wu said, you can also come with me. No need, my home is in the family courtyard of the Northern Suburban Machine Repair Factory. I can just take the bus back. Qiunan has a job, so she naturally has more money. She can take the bus for 5,000 yuan each time. Huairu, let's also take the bus back. Let's go, Wu said, you should go too. Jia Dongxiu snorted. No need, Wu said, you don't need to trouble. The bus goes directly to our repair shop, Qiunan hurriedly said. Why should I go? If you want to go, you can go. It's none of my business. Comrade Qiunan doesn't need me to deliver him. If you want to deliver him to you, you can deliver him. Don't drag me to waste my time and fares, Wu said disdainfully. No matter what they say, they all come for blind dates. Is it reasonable for you not to go see them off? Jia Dongxiu objected. I can't justify it anymore. If you want to be attentive, you can go on your own and don't bother me, Wu said impatiently. Jia Dongxiu is actually worried about coming back too late. If he walks alone at night and encounters bad people, what should he do? Although Jia Dongshu is such a big person, he is still timid and afraid of death, which is why he wants to hold on to Wu Shuo. But Wu claimed that he didn't buy his account at all, but he told Qin Huairu again, and Jia Dongshu's face showed embarrassment. I won't go, so don't go either. Alright, Jia Dongshu, you're too timid. Everyone knows that if you're out at night and encounter bad people, what should you do? Just stay at home and be honest, Wu said with a sneer. Who's cowardly? You fart, let's go, Huairu. I'll take you back, Jia Dongshu said. Qin Huairu looked at Wu's so-called appearance and then thought about that night when Jia Dongshu spread his legs and ran away, saying, Dongshu, it's not safe for you to walk alone at night. Forget it, comrade Ding Qiunan and I can just take a car. Qin Huairu is indulging in pursuit. If Jia Dongshu were to accompany her on the bus, she wouldn't have to pay for the fare, but it would cost 5,000 yuan. Qin Huairu's words still made her look pitiful and pitiful. Jia Dongshu couldn't bear this. Huairu, don't listen to him talk nonsense. I'll come back and walk on the main road. What's scary? Let's go, I'll see you off, and I'll also go to your house to recognize you. Jia Dongshu seemed to be trying to boost his courage and said. If we go to Qin Huairu's house to recognize her family, we won't be afraid that Qin Huairu will still run away. Really? Are you coming to my house? Qin Huairu said happily. Of course, I came to recognize the door this time, so I won't buy anything. I will buy it on my next official visit, Jia Dongshu said. It's okay, let's go, Qin Huairu said. Qin Huairu didn't expect Jia Dongshu to buy anything, as long as Jia Dongshu could provide the fare. The three of them left the yard together. Although Jia Dongshu was proud now, he couldn't help feeling uncomfortable when he walked back at night. After Jia Zhang bought medicine and returned, he found that his son Jia Dongshu had already sent Qin Huairu and Ding Qiunan back, but Wu claimed that he had not gone. Jia Zhang was also very proud to promote to the people in the yard that his son Jia Dongshu and the girl named Qin Huairu had fallen in love. No girl was interested in Wu Shuo, and Wu Shuo said that he might become a destitute and single in the future. However, Jia Zhang didn't feel proud for long. After everyone had dinner for a while in the evening, they were stunned and didn't see Jia Dongshu coming back. Jia Zhang began to worry. Zhonghai also became worried. Nanluogu Lane is far from the northern suburbs, and they both rely on Jia Dongshu for retirement. If something happens to Jia Dongshu, what will they do? Lao Yi, do you think we should go and look? Why am I worried? Jia Zhang worried. I must be going out to search. Why haven't I come back yet at this time? Let's report the case to the law enforcement office, Zhonghai gritted his teeth and said. Do you need to make such a big fuss? Jia Dongshu is such a big person, said Daqing, the father of Silly Zhu. That's right, everyone is so old now. There are law enforcement officers patrolling everywhere, Su Dumao's father, Su Fugue, also said. These two have not moved out of the courtyard yet, and they also don't like Zhonghai in the courtyard. Dudu. There was a fierce knocking at the entrance of the courtyard. Quick, go and see if our Dongshu has returned, Jia Zhang said excitedly and quickly ran out. Oh. I don't know if it was running too quickly, but Jia Zhang's foot sprained.